So, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the reality of what it's like to be a full-time automotive YouTuber in 2026. If you don't know me or this channel, hi, welcome. I'm Andy Valentine. This is Garage Tinkering, and on here I build automotive technology predominantly inspired by video games that I really liked when I was growing up. For example, some of the stuff that we're most well known for here is building the full customizable Need for Speed Underground 2 digital dashboard. You can set all the colors and the designs of all of these things. These are going to go into the Project 350Z that I'm working on, which is going to be the world's first complete 100% accurate replica of the Rachel Need for Speed Underground 2 350Z with the body kit and the livery and the wheels and the custom headlights and taillights and interior and sound system and absolutely everything from that car. No one's ever done that whole thing before, so we're working on that. I started the channel about 2 years ago now, and I've been fortunate enough to turn that into a full-time job within the first kind of like 18 months. So for the last 6 or 7 months, I've been doing it full-time. So how did that happen? I think it's a combination of factors, but the most important one was the fact that I started creating content that nobody had really done before. YouTube is absolutely jam-packed with fantastic creators who make content about a whole different range of things. And I think something you'll find is a lot of the people who are full-time or popular are doing something new, and they're doing something innovative. The days where you could just do let's play video games or you could do daily vlogging just don't cut it anymore. Those kind of channels that are starting up now just don't gain popularity because we've seen all of that stuff so many times over. Now, the channels that manage to separate themselves, and subsequently the ones that are able to potentially do it for a living, are the ones who are bringing something new to the table. Now, even though YouTube's been going for 20 years and there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of content on it, there's still space to create new things. Like if you take my flip-up screen video. I spent ages trying to figure out how to do a flip-up screen, but that content just doesn't exist anywhere. So, why has no one ever made content about making a flip-up screen? You'd think it's the kind of thing that people would have done by now, but no. By doing something new and bringing a sense of individuality to your content is definitely the kind of thing that helps it stand out and helps separate you from everybody else. And I think there's a really important point there, which is bringing yourself to the table. Like, what can you offer? What do you have that nobody else can do? For example, I'm creating automotive technology, but my background isn't in any of this. I never had built gauges up until I started doing this channel. I had never done electrical engineering. I have a background as a user interface developer for web. I did my degree in that. I did my master's in that. I did my PhD in user experience design. So I come from a very different background. But what that means is my approach to creating something like this Need for Speed inspired digital dashboard is very different to the way anybody else would do it. On top of that, a lot of my content is really heckin' nerdy. We get deep into the weeds of canvas manipulation and data sniffing and analysis, which empowers a lot of this technology to work in a car. And if you were to go out and look for that kind of content on YouTube, you often find faceless channels, which are just talking over some code, and it's not the most engaging way of creating that kind of content. So I figured I could do that kind of content, but, have my face on camera and talk about it in a way that's a little bit more accessible and probably a little bit more fun to watch. So what does a day or a week as a full-time YouTuber look like? I would most compare it to running a business, because effectively that is what you're doing. You see the end result of a video, but there are so many factors and so many things that have to happen in order to make that video exist. So a day could be made up of one of 20 different things. At the moment, I'm building this stuff, which means I'm doing coding and software design, plus I'm updating the hardware that makes all this possible. So I'm doing hardware keycads, kind of circuit board design, plus I've got to build all of the things that hold gauges, which is 3D modeling and 3D printing, plus I'm building a full new interior for the car, which is why I'm surrounded by interior car parts at the moment, so I'm spending a lot of time sewing with leather and suede, or hand stitching, or all these other kind of things that are used to create a really cool interior for a car. Or I'm potentially looking at products like CNC machines and 3D printers and the kind of hardware that makes this kind of work possible. And honestly, I think that's one of the coolest but also the most difficult things about the job. I have ADHD, so I can flitter between lots and lots of jobs very, very easily. And I'm doing 20 things at once, or I'm doing one thing hyper-focused for 2 weeks at a time, and there's no midpoint. So it's great to be able to do a full range of different things and to be able to get up every morning and go, I want to do this today, and that's what I get to do. And no idiot middle manager gets to tell me that I don't get to do that. But when you have to think about the production of a video, everything that you do, takes much, much longer. I can't just sit and make something. I have to make something and set up the cameras and set up the lighting and consider the angles and if my hands are in the way and lots of other factors that you have to consider when filming content. But when you're trying to produce videos to a sort of a schedule, then I also have to be thinking about that video and that end result and not getting too distracted by the hundreds of other things that I want to do. So all of the deadlines and all of the direction has to be really hard self-imposed. And that's sometimes quite difficult, especially if you're like me and you enjoy flittering between hundreds of different tasks from day to day. One of the questions that I got asked on Discord was, how many hours do you put into each video and how many videos do you release a week? Right now, I release roughly one video a month because they take so long. I reckon each one of those videos probably has about 300 hours of work for a 20-minute video. So for every minute of video that you see, there's like 10 plus hours of other stuff that has happened in order to empower that 1 minute to take place. Like in an upcoming video, I talk about something to do with this for 30 seconds in that video, and that 30 seconds took me 10 full working days to do. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on that you don't see. I would love to be able to create more content than once a month, but right now it's just a matter of time and money and balancing all of that. But we'll talk a bit more about that when we get into the finance bit later in the video. A lot of people have asked, how did I decide to take that jump to become full-time? Now, I have to admit, my situation is probably very different to your situation. Because before I got into doing YouTube full-time, I hadn't worked for anybody else for the 5 years previous, and I ran another company. Now, that company of mine still exists, and it still generates money 100% passively for me every month. So that combined with my quite low monthly outgoings means that my overheads are really low, and I could take a risk because the other company would basically support the bare minimum that my life would take to live. And I knew if I took the risk of then jumping full-time into YouTube, it would mean that I could spend a lot more time on each video, making them better and better over time and growing them to a point where they actually ended up overtaking the income from the other business, which they have now done. But I am very aware that I was in an incredibly fortuitous position to be able to do that with a safety net. The overwhelming majority of you who might be thinking about doing YouTube full-time are going to be people who probably have a job, and you have to take the risk of leaving that job. And when do you do that? Now, that's a difficult one because it's going to be different for every individual person, but the general consensus seems to be roughly when you have 12 months of runway set aside and you've had around 6 months where the income has been sufficient every month to pay for your life. Now, how much that costs you obviously depends where you live in the world, and because obviously living costs in different countries are highly variable, but that's just like a general kind of rule. But as we've seen in this example, I started the channel 2 years ago, and within 18 months, I've managed to turn it into a full-time job. So it's not unachievable. You just have to have that something that separates you and allows your channel to flourish. The overwhelming majority of creators are never going to make any money from YouTube. And those who do, even myself in my situation, I don't make a lot of money from YouTube itself. The thing is, AdSense and the money you get for adverts doesn't pay a lot. Yep, it's time to get into the numbers a bit. So for my automotive / tech channel, my RPM, or revenue per mille or per thousand views, is about £5.50-ish, which means for every 1,000 views, I get around £5.50. So if we were to extrapolate that to some larger numbers, let's say I have a video that does 200,000 views, that'll get me somewhere in the region of £1,000 to £1,200. Not a lot of money for quite a lot of views, which is why you have to treat being a YouTuber like a business, because you are going to have to do brand deals and sponsorships in order to make enough money to live off it. There is a reason why every single one of my videos has a sponsor in it now, because that same 200,000 views may only be worth £1,000 from AdSense, but I can get somewhere between £4,000 and £8,000 off a pretty average sponsorship deal. £1,000 a month, not really enough to live on. 1,000 plus another 6,000, that's enough to live on. So sponsorships are a very, very big part of growing a full-time business on YouTube. So how do you go and find a sponsor? Well, the majority of them, the overwhelming majority of the ones I worked with, just email me. Make sure you've got your email address in the bio, and then if a company wants to talk to you about promoting a product, then that's generally how they'll get into contact with you. And you might not need to be as big as you think in order to start getting those deals. The very first sponsor that I ever got was PCBWay, who are actually the sponsor of this video and have sponsored me since I had 800 subscribers, almost a year and a half ago. They've supported this channel hugely over the last 18 months and have produced all of the circuit boards and PCB boards and everything that I use on this channel. They've been a fantastic collaborator and I really enjoy working with them. And it's actually their 12th birthday celebration at the moment. So if you need to have PCBs made or CNCing done or some 3D printing done, you can use the code PCBWay Garage Tinkering 10 at the checkout and you'll get $10 off any purchase $30 or above. So whether you want to have a, like I say, a PCB made or something 3D printed or something machined out of aluminium, make sure you use the code at the checkout in order to get that extra bit of money off. I honestly love working with PCBWay and I look forward to doing so, hopefully for another 12 years. One of the questions I got asked on the Discord, and if you do want to chat more about automotive tech, we do have a Discord, you can check it out in the description below, was what does your fiance think about you spending so much time doing all this work? I'm afraid I don't have a fiance anymore. I got a wife, about 4 weeks ago. We upgraded our relationship to the final stage. And we got married. So I've got a wife now, but she's incredibly supportive of it. In fact, anytime I'm not making a video like this where I'm just talking directly to a camera, it is her behind the camera. She is my videographer. She is my producer. And she's incredibly supportive of the amount of time and effort that it actually takes to do all of this. And I think she understands that a lot of it is short-term effort for hopeful long-term gain. So what does the future look like for Garage Tinkering? Good question. We've got some amazing projects on the horizon. You know, these digital dashboards that I've been working on now for a year are very soon about to go into my 350Z and be the very first fully customizable Need for Speed Underground 2 digital dashboard in a car ever. It's something I've been looking forward to doing for a long time, and it's very, very close to being done. So once the 350Z is done, we've got 2 more project cars on the horizon. And I really would like to create a fleet of pop culture and video game inspired cars that I think are some of the most iconically designed cars of all time in ways that people haven't really done those builds before. So right now I'm working on the Rachel 350Z. After that, I'm going to take on the Need for Speed Most Wanted M3 GTR. Another iconic Need for Speed game car that we can do in our own way. And then maybe at the same time, maybe before, maybe after, I don't know, I'm going to get an FD RX-7 and do a Han Tokyo Drift tribute build. Again, with all the care and love and fidelity that I try to put into all of my projects. How the channel will grow outside of that, I don't know, but we're quickly approaching 100,000 subscribers. So if you have watched this and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you know what to do. There is a button down below. Help us get to 100,000 because I just want that shiny silver plaque to put on the wall behind me. Hopefully that's acted as a little bit of an insight into what it's actually like being a full-time YouTuber. It's great, but it's also incredibly stressful. And you're working 24/7 and you never get any time off, but that's part of it. And if you want to do something awesome, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. So if you've got any questions about this whole process, stick them down in the comments and I'll do everything that I can to get back to you about them. Otherwise, whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a wicked one. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, peeps. Bye-bye.